So, the Hisui region, newest open world Pokemon game, coming to the Switch in January 28th, one day before my birthday. And there's so many changes that might change the premise of all the future Pokemon games. Let's go talk about it. Welcome back to another episode of A Wanderer's Way podcast. Today, we're speaking about the newest information we just received about Pokemon Legends Arceus and all the new details that changes just everything about all the battling and everything. It just changes the entire premise of the video games for the future. So let's get right into it. So we just found out that there is it is only one game, which kind of already knew anyways from before. But when you're really looking at it, one game, not two, just one game, open world. And it seems like a real big blend between Pokemon Sword and Shield and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Really look at it, that's what it seems like. And it's a good step forward, honestly, because we all have been looking forward to an open world Pokemon game. Now, I don't see it having the National Pokédex in it because this is pre-Sinnoh, and it's in a new region called Hisui, which is pretty neat. I'm actually really intrigued by it. But they show a lot of new information, new changes to certain Pokemon for that region itself, new Pokemon that just arrived for that specific region that we've never seen before. And totaling up now, there is our total of 900 Pokemon because of this. And the Hisui region later becomes known as the Sinnoh region. So you're exploring the landscapes beforehand. So my favorite part about this whole thing that I learned from the very beginning is the starter Pokemon, which has been excluded from nearly every game except for Silver and Gold, Cyndaquil. Because if you guys haven't known already, Typhlosion is my favorite, my all-time favorite, and always will be. I don't know why, I just love Typhlosion. I used to have every single card. I still have their cards out of all the cards I used to have. But we got some new gameplay details, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. I am surprised by the new direction they're going, including the battling system, which really intrigues me a lot. And it has a new infusion of the action RPG elements for it. And I think it's going to change for future games. I think this is going to be one of the best-selling Pokemon games because Sword and Shield was the best-selling Pokemon games since Gold and Silver. It's obviously Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, they're beforehand, and then it's Sword and Shield now. So that's a big step forward in that itself. To me, it was way too easy of a game. Like, I didn't even lose once. And I usually have some problems. Like when I played Red and Blue and Gold and Silver, there's times when I got my butt kicked. Now, it just seems like it was way too easy. So I'm hoping the new battle changes here really sets the premise of a challenge. So even if I grind, I'm still gonna have issues because of the new changes. Um, so for example, they have one that's called Strong Style, and they have different styles that supports versus using moves that are dependent on strength, and then one's dependent on speed, so on and so forth. And I think that is really going to change massively for how you go about for all these battles, especially for multiplayer and you're doing real world battles, with friends and random people around the world. I think this is really going to be an interesting battle system, to say the least. And we found out the date. It's actually going to be one day before my birthday. So January 28th is going to be released next year. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. And I'm just very surprised by the looks of it. And the storyline is pretty neat too. So it's pre-Sinnoh. So I'm happy with how they're going about it. I think it's really going to set up a good storyline in between. And there's just so much information that we just got, which was, I was actually surprised by what they implemented. And I know a lot of other people were too. And it seems like there's a lot of good talk about it. I haven't seen much of negativity at all, to be honest. Like, not really, And what's great about it, it's going to be open world. And what we saw, you run through the bushes, you can throw the Pokeball. So, when you watch the anime, you would see Ash would just throw a Pokeball without battling and try to catch, which I think is something that we've always needed. But at the same time, I like having both aspects, battle and catch, or trying to catch. I think it's a great system, and it makes it set up for how it should be. But what I really like about it, though, from what I saw, is how the battle is. So it just makes you feel more alive. It's more driven towards a realism based of if Pokemon was real. That's kind of how I look at it. So more of a simulation based instead of just like a standard RPG adventure, real, And you gotta see a Hisui region based Growlithe. And at first I didn't realize it was even Growlithe until because they went through the video and everything first, and then they spoke about it, and I was like, oh, that's Growlithe. I thought it was just a brand new Pokemon. No, it's just Hisui region based. And it talks about, because I didn't notice the markings at first until they started talking about it, and I saw the markings on there. I was like, wait, that's Growlithe markings on the side. And then they talked about how the fur goes over his face, how it keeps him staying warm because it's a colder region, I guess. So that was an interesting idea. I did not expect that. And then you have new evolutions like Basculin being involved into a new Pokemon and a couple others, which this is going to be intriguing. And what's awesome as well is that we get to see some of the diverse natural environments when you get to explore, and you get different weather conditions. So they keep that kind of implementations from Sword and Shield in a way. So obviously different types of terrain provides different kind of weather conditions, which, makes sense, right? So obviously snowy climes, rainfall over lush green vistas, and desert lands. Like that all just fits into what it should be, of a more realism based, and for each Pokemon as well. So that's cool. And you get your main base in there. But what I really like too is how the Pokédex is. Instead of just carrying it with you and everything's right there, you actually go to explore. So you have your science side of things. Like, that's one of my favorite things. Go around, catch, see, come back. Guys, looks at your information about the Pokemon and it uploads all the information, which I think is actually pretty cool. And seems like Game Freak is really taking a bold move. Everyone's always talked about over the years, it's staying too much the same, da 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 da. But yeah, that's one of the premise of why it's been so popular. And now they're making this bold move, and I think this is going to be one of the best-selling Pokemon games. I think it might sell better than what Sword and Shield did. We'll see what more information comes out before January. But you got what is it, Jubilife Village? I think that's what it's called. And you got a thing called Galaxy Expedition Team, which is pretty cool. I think it's pretty unique. So you have a team that fronts up the Medical Security and Survey Corps in Hisui. So you have a division, and I think that's kind of a cool premise for the game. So they showed a lot about that and captains and survey corps and how you progress in the game for each area, which I thought was actually pretty unique. So that's definitely a new bold move, honestly. But the graphics look great. And apparently you can also change your clothes in there too, so you can have your own kind of character in a way. Now, by the looks of it, it's not going to be anything like Sword and Shield, where you can change every aspect of your character creation, which kind of saddens me a bit because I liked having that. By the looks, I don't know, they didn't really specify anything about it, but I know that you can change your clothes, different kind of outfits and such. But hairstyles, eye color, and designs and stuff, by the looks of it, you don't have that access this time, which I thought was a big step up for them, and I really like that idea, and I wish they would have kept it. So we'll see if there's any more information comes out, if there's anything implemented for full character customizations again. So it's a new approach to the series, completely new, and the fact that it's set in pre-Sinnoh is actually really cool. And before we even get to that, we're going back to the Sinnoh region games with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which I think they looked really good, and I definitely will be getting Diamond over Pearl. I always buy just one. I always buy just one of the games. Don't ask me why. It's just how I've always been. So I think it's going to be pretty unique. I think both games are going to be really good. And I think the Sinnoh-based games, the Diamond and Pearl, are going to try to get you back into the understanding of Sinnoh before you get to the pre-Sinnoh game. So I think it's really going to be good. But there's two move styles, like I said. So, the strong style, which is obviously for your power of your Pokemon, which will increase, but the speed will be lower. And then you have agile style, which decreases power and increases speed. And it looks like it's gonna just add another layer of strategy to each battle, which I think is a amazing thing. And certain Pokemon you battle with may also be able to take multiple turns against their opponent depending on your Pokemon's speed, stats, and moves. That's gonna put another strategy onto the battles, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, as I spoke about earlier, there was a Hisuian variance. So it's kind of like the Galarian Pokemon that you would find. They have the certain variants of the Pokemon. Obviously, Growlithe was the biggest one that we saw. But we also got new evolutions. And one of them that looked really, really cool was an evolution of Stantler, which is Weirdeer. I think that's how they pronounce it. So that's I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be unique. And then you got, like I talked about earlier, from Basculin, you got Basculegion, which looks like a powerful swimmer, and it also showed that you can ride on him too, or yeah, ride on him while he's swimming. So that's going to be nice to have as well. So it really, and wait, there was one more. Oh yeah, Rufflet. There's another variant, which is a Hisuian Bravery, and looks really, really good. And you can use them to fly, which they showed one where she like jumps off the edge of the cliff, and I was like, wait, what's going on here? I was like, can we die now? No, and then comes up with Bravery. Oh my gosh, I was surprised, and that looked really good too. But the biggest one is Growlithe. Hisui Growlithe looks absolutely ridiculous, but amazing at the same time, if that makes sense. And I know it's a lot of people has commented about that, and they were most excited about the Growlithe variant, but I didn't hear anything about his evolution. So we don't know if there's actually going to be a change, or if he's even going to even evolve at all. Looks like it might just be Growlithe and there's no evolution, which would be interesting. But yeah, the greatest thing about it too is that you can ride some of these Pokemon and mount them in the sky, on land, and in the water. So at least they kept that. Now that doesn't seem like there's any bicycles or anything like that so far. But let's look at the Pokeballs. So this is pre-Sinnoh, and it's like a, what do you want to call it, a medieval era kind of style in a way. So before the real Pokeballs came into effect, so I wonder if this is supposed to be before Generation 1, as in the sense, I don't know, or they're just that far out that no one's discovered it, so they don't have real Pokeballs. But the way they worked was actually pretty cool looking. I loved it. So we got 3 starters. Obviously, I told you about Cyndaquil, which obviously I'm going to pick 100% of the time. I'm not even going to use the others. But and that's from Generation 2, but we also got Oshawott, which is from Generation 5. And then we got Rowlet from Generation 7. So now it's kind of a little bit of confusion here. This is pre-Sinnoh, which is Generation 4. So what is that time period? What is that time period that we're in right now? Like, what is pushing it along? Like, how do we go from Generation 2, 5, and 7 for starters? That's what I'm wondering. Now, it's so it kind of makes me wonder if any of the rumors might be true. A national Pokédex, because when you look at it as pre-Sinnoh, I don't see a national Pokédex coming in. It wouldn't make sense. But now that I see about the 3 different generation-based starter Pokemon, and it goes all the way up to Generation 7, it makes you wonder, are we going to have a national Pokédex? If so, dude, I'm happy. Oh, hell yeah. Give me that national Pokédex. And you will be able to use Pokemon Home with this, so that's good. And, you know, I'm going to be going back and forth throughout the entire damn game before I evolve anything to get them all in there. Don't ask me why. It's just one of those things. We learned who the new professor is, which is a member of the Galaxy team, so that's pretty cool. The graphics are great. The graphics are absolutely phenomenal. I think this game is going to blow out of the water. I can't say it's going to be a better seller than Red and Blue. I don't even know if it's going to touch Silver and Gold. It is very possible with this bold change. I know it's going to sell over, or at least I'm expecting it to, over Sword and Shield, which was which is number 3 best-selling Pokemon game of all time. So, about how this is and how everyone was excited about Sword and Shield, I think this game is going to outbeat it. Now, I'm not sure how it's going to play in, but if it goes as well, and if there's actually going to be a national Pokédex in this game, I have a feeling this is going to actually outsell Silver and Gold, or at least catch right up there and be like near tying. So it can go either way, but I expect it to be a top seller in the franchise, which will move the game to progress further ahead. And we might get another game style. But I love the fact that they're not doing 2 different games for the same thing this time. It's just one. That's also new for the series as well. So, with that being said, I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are on the game, what you saw, if you're excited, what is your favorite part about it. With that being said, y'all have such a wonderful week.